Jerome Wilson never imagined he'd become invisible in his own empire. Yet there he was, 47 years old, sharp as ever, a self-made millionaire, standing at the front desk of the very hotel he built from the ground up, completely ignored. No greeting, no eye contact, just the cold indifference of a receptionist more interested in her phone than acknowledging him. But this wasn't just some routine visit. He was here because guests had been complaining, missing reservations, dismissive service, and an unwelcoming atmosphere. Instead of dealing with it from the safety of his corporate office, Jerome chose to see it firsthand. No special treatment, no executive title, just another guest walking through the doors. And what he found? Exactly what he had been warned about. The young woman at the desk barely spared him a glance before brushing him off. His confirmed reservation? Nowhere to be found. The system wasn't wrong, people were. And when Jerome pulled out his phone to check the hotel's internal records, his gut tightened. His booking hadn't disappeared. It had been manually deleted by none other than the woman standing in front of him. This wasn't just bad service. This was personal. What happens when a CEO is treated like a nobody in his own five-star hotel? Real-life stories new brings you the moment Jerome Wilson decides to remind everyone exactly who he is. Jerome had spent years building his empire, yet at this moment, none of it seemed to matter. The front desk clerk barely acknowledged his presence, fingers lazily scrolling through her phone as if he weren't even there. He had walked into his hotel, not as a CEO, but as a customer. And how she treated him told him everything he needed to know. This wasn't a simple mistake. This wasn't some random glitch. This was intentional. He cleared his throat. No response. He tapped the counter. Still nothing. Finally, with an exaggerated sigh, the receptionist, her name tag reading Kim, dragged her gaze from the screen. She barely masked her irritation as she muttered, "Yeah. Not welcome to our hotel. Not how can I assist you." Just a single dismissive syllable, like he was an inconvenience. Jerome kept his voice steady. "I have a reservation. Jerome Wilson." Kim smirked, fingers tapping lazily at the keyboard. She didn't even bother looking at him. "Yeah, don't see it." His jaw tightened. "You sure about that?" She sighed, this time longer, as if he were wasting her time. "Pretty sure." Then, just like that, she went back to scrolling. Conversation over. But Jerome wasn't done. Slowly, he pulled out his phone, scrolled to his confirmation email, and held it up. "It's right here. Booked." Kim barely glanced at it before shrugging. Well, the system doesn't lie. But it had. Or rather, she had. Jerome's heartbeat slowed, a familiar sense of controlled anger settling in. He had seen this before. The quiet, unspoken rules of customer service, where some guests were welcomed with open arms and others were silently dismissed. Today, he wasn't here as an executive. He was here as a test. And Kim had just failed spectacularly. He exhaled. "Check again." She rolled her eyes but tapped at the keyboard with the enthusiasm of someone being forced to do actual work. "Oh, still nothing." "Sorry." Except she wasn't sorry. Not even close. Jerome exhaled slowly. Then, in one smooth motion, he pulled out his second phone, the one with direct access to the hotel's internal system. A few taps, and there it was. His booking. Confirmed. Entered into the system. But something else caught his eye. A manual deletion. And next to it, a name. A slow smile spread across his lips. Oh, this was about to get interesting. He tilted his head, voice impossibly calm. "Tell me something, Kim." She hummed absent-mindedly, already back on her phone. "What happens when a reservation is deleted?" She shrugged. "It's removed. No big deal." And who has the power to do that? For the first time, her fingers paused. Only front desk staff. Jerome nodded. "Like yourself?" Her brows knitted together. Yeah." He turned his screen toward her. Her eyes flicked to the glowing display, and in an instant, her entire body went rigid. Right there, in bold text. Deleted by Kim, front desk clerk. Her mouth opened slightly. The color drained from her face. Jerome leaned forward, voice just low enough to weigh the moment down. Why did you delete my reservation? Kim swallowed hard. I didn't. He cut her off. Oh, don't even try. The way she flinched? Almost satisfying. Almost. For the first time that night, she had nothing to say. Jerome straightened. Here's what's going to happen. Kim tensed. You're going to find me a room. Right now. She scrambled, fingers flying across the keyboard, panic replacing arrogance. Okay. Found one. She snatched a key card, shoved it across the counter, eyes darting away. Here you go, sir. Jerome didn't take it. Which room? She hesitated. 1427. His sigh was slow. Of course. The worst room in the building. Room 1427, by the noisy elevators, next to a maintenance closet, with a perfect view of the dumpsters. Kim thought she was slick. Jerome tilted his head. Tell me, Kim, do I look stupid to you? The lobby's energy shifted. Other guests started paying attention. A bellboy in the corner adjusted his hat, suddenly very interested in the ceiling. Jerome slowly picked up the key card, grip firm. Thanks, Kim. He turned and walked away. But this wasn't over. Not even close. Upstairs, Jerome didn't unpack. He had work to do. Within minutes, he pulled every guest complaint, every staff dispute, every misconduct report linked to this location. And Kim's name? Everywhere. Ignoring complaints, refusing service, mysterious errors that only seemed to affect certain guests. She hadn't just been bad at her job. She had been abusing it. And management? They had let her. That ended tonight. Jerome shut his laptop and walked straight to the manager's office. Stephen Lane looked up, startled. Mr. Wilson. What a surprise. Jerome closed the door. Cut the crap, Stephen. We need to talk. And 2 minutes later, the entire lobby watched as Kim was fired on the spot. She argued. She cried. She begged. Didn't matter. She was gone. And as she stormed toward the exit, she threw one last hateful glare over her shoulder. Jerome just smiled. Because she still had no idea who he was. But she would. They all would. Tonight, his empire was being rebuilt. And this time, no one would forget his name.